It is Augusto Farfus with the green highlights, with the Union flag highlights. Andy Prio, row one of the grid. The blue car, that is Nicola Larini. He starts in fourth place, with Alex Zanardi in third. 10 laps of the Brno circuit to go. Round 11 of the World Touring Car Championship is underway very early indeed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cars wide across the track.
Farfus has got a head in front.
But here comes Zanardi. Farfus turned into the first corner, takes out two Chevrolets, and it was Prio.
Hell breaks loose. That was
Prio. It was into the back of him. Now, how did that happen?
Well, he was into the side of him. Farfus pulled across for some reason in front of him, and that just speared off. I think it was Nicola Larini went off there, and that was all was going to happen in the first corner.
And so,
I'd like a replay
first, third, fourth, fifth.
What was that?
Quite incredibly unnecessary.
What was I saying about BMW not working as team?
Unbelievable.
Just what is that about, guys?
But look who is at the front.
Yeah, Gabby.
Race 1 winner Zanardi, race 2 winner Tarquini from last year. Where they left here last year, they're right back at it.
I told you about the kiss of death from the commentators. We should never have mentioned the BMWs. Look at Prio.
Prio's car may make race 2, but it's certainly not going to play any further part in race 1.
It's going to be on the back of the grid as well, because they're going to have to work in that car now. He will start from the back row of the grid in the second race.
There's Augusto. His chance of leading this championship is gone.
We need to see a replay of that, because that looked to me like, for some reason, Farfus turned sharp left, but was he tagged? Did somebody tag his back bumper? He wouldn't have turned sharp left for no good reason.
No, that's for sure. Well, we have cars right behind. That's Jordi Genet. Well, he's the only Seat that is not in the top half dozen at the moment, and Coronel in the top 10 as well. One of them, at any rate. Farfus cannot believe his luck. He was on for a massive point scoring weekend here, and he will probably end up with nothing. Safety car is out. Alemenu and I think Nicola Larini also went off there.
Well, there's no Chevrolets at all in that top bunch. The whole Chevrolet
did
pack.
Huff even escape? Let's have a look again.
I think the Chevrolet, one of the...
Okay, so Larini top Chevrolet. Genet tearing up the outside. Watch Genet with the dark colours on his car.
Something happens behind. Why does Farfus turn sharp left?
Okay, is it Zanardi behind? Well, Prio certainly had a big contact with somebody. But what happens to...
he just
Farfus moved across, tagged Prio, wrecked the front of Prio's car, and Huff gets sideways in the middle of the pack. Oh no, Huff's out there, so it was Menu sideways into the pillar with Zanardi. That's Farfus, moves over.
What was he trying to do moving over? I mean, the best place to be going into turn 1 is down on the white line on the right hand side. That was a piece of stupid driving.
Larini's view of it, and that was
And the Chevys all jump off.
Well, Menu survived, but then got tagged sideways in the middle with Jörg Muller. In front of us, Hernandez, Daste on the grass. That is Menu recovering. Jörg tries to go inside. Menu gets hit again by a Coronel.
There was a problem with the back of Menu's car. You could see he couldn't steer it. There's a broken left rear suspension.
Roberto Ravaglia cannot believe it. I tell you what, if that was his reaction, imagine what Bart Mampai of RBM...
Andy Prio still trying to drag this car back round to...
and imagine what Charlie Lamb's face looked like when he saw his pole sitter, the man who should lead the championship going away from here, off in the first corner.
That was the silly... I don't understand what he was thinking about. He should not have been trying to pull left. If anything, you'd be pulling right. That car looks like it's going to struggle to make race 2, unless they can flatbed that car out of there.
Well, we may well have to, because there's a lot of metalwork in that gravel trap. Rob Huff's car being towed away, so that will go to the garage.
That Menu coming back round it.
Yeah,
that's Alain coming round. But it looked like he either has a puncture on the left rear
or a broken suspension. Yeah, there's Nick Larini is out of his car. Prio is back. Tell you what, I'm not sure I'm going to talk to him until we get to Porto. I don't think he'll be a happy bunny.
I think Farfus and Prio will be having a quiet word with each other here.
I'm not sure it'll be that quiet. Okay, well, we're going to try and get a word with Augusto. I don't think it's going to be a pleasant word. Augusto moves over.
I mean, that was...
My only question there was, was it a concertina effect? Did Zanardi get hit from behind into the back of somebody?
But I don't think he didn't touch him. He moved. What he was thinking about moving left, he was trying to block Andy rather than worrying about his own line.
Look how muddy it is there on the outfield. That's how wet it's been in the last couple of days.
See the back tyre down in Alan Menu's car there, see that?
Yeah.
He's obviously
is it just
tight.
The tyre, or is the rear out of line as well?
I think it's probably got a little bit of damage on the rear because somebody's pinballed it there.
There's Bart Mampai. looking at Andy Prio's car, and surprisingly, Augusto Farfus doesn't want a word with us. Well, gee, there's a
I think what they're trying to do, I would think they're trying to keep Andy Prio and Augusto Farfus apart at the moment.
I think they might be separating Augusto from any sharp objects actually in the garage, because I'm not entirely sure that he's not about to really beat himself up mentally.
Just watch this again. There's no good reason why he goes left. That, for me, is just the silliest move of the day, of the weekend.
Well, now he is seeing Tarquini howling up the outside in his mirrors and miscalculated entirely any gap to Prio.
He had the inside track. He had the inside, which is exactly where you'd want to be. You wouldn't want to be out on the outside. You're out on the outside, the bloke on the inside slides across and tags you. It is not the place to be. He should have been down the white line here. Right on the white line, where Andy is, or where Zanardi is.
Oh, is that Muller's view or Coronel's? Muller's, maybe.
And Alex is up there. I think Alex is second now, isn't he?
Yeah, Zanardi second, Tarquini leads, and just carnage of an unimaginably bad manner. Well, for Chevrolet, but for BMW particularly. I mean, Chevrolet didn't think they looked like they had a lot of point potential here, but BMW certainly did, and that's.
But the Chevrolets were just completely. They were completely.
Oh, they had nowhere to go.
They were just passengers, really.
Absolutely.
There was absolutely nowhere for them to go. I mean, I just cannot believe that happened. Look at this. Stay on the white line. Stay on the white line. No, we go left.
Well,
and Alex must think it's Christmas. He's down there. Gabrielle's right round the outside, laughing his socks off, and Alex is second. Alex is going to win this restart. No argument.
Look at Gabrielli coming around the outside. How Tarquini does not get thumped off here.
He must have missed it by a fraction.
Do you know what? I bet he almost left paint on the back bumper of Tarquini's car.
But you can see how the two Chevrolets are just innocent bystanders and get completely wiped out.
And didn't he hit Lorini's car hard? That was a big hit. Lorini's car up in the air as he got the impact.
See, what they need to do here with Alain Menu's car is get it back out quickly. Find out, he can go back out now. Find out if the car's okay. If it's not, he can come back in and fiddle around with it. He's at the back of this grid anyway, minus a few. Farfus, I suspect that car, that's it for the day now, because unless they can get that back, they're not going to have a time to get it repaired before the second race.
Menu's car is in the pits. Huff is walking back.
That's broken a rear trailing arm on that Chevrolet. That's why probably when it hit the wheel, it's punctured the tyre, but it's also ripped out a trailing arm.
Job one here is, John, is to rip everything out to find out what's left in one piece and how far everything's been pushed back. See actually whether you can rebuild it, because you've got to do things like mount the radiator so that the engine's not punching holes in it as soon as you try and run. So
yeah, these guys are professional at that, and they know they've only got a short time to get the cars between races. They've only got 15 minutes of working time. I think the interesting thing when the restart here is Alex Zanardi has got clearly a faster car. The BMW is faster than the Seat this weekend. No problem. We'll just wait and see exactly what happens at the restart, and I think Gabrielli could get jumped quite quickly. Zanardi needs to get away because he's got Ivan Muller in third place from 13th on the grid. Unbelievable. We could end up here with a one BMW first, and then Seat second, third, fourth and fifth. The guys at Seat must be laughing their socks off. BMW cannot get their act together. They can't work as a team. They can't stop crashing into each other.
The best factory BMW driver, Alex Zanardi, in second. The next best one is his teammate Sergio Hernandez in sixth. And in third, BMW factory driver Jörg Müller is 11th. So it's not exactly reflecting of their pace or the way they lined up on the grid. But you know what? I actually worry a little bit for how Christian Poulsen got tagged by somebody there as well. He's in the pit lane in the...
We're about to go. The safety car lights are out. The safety car is coming in this lap.
I have to say, I worry for Alex Zanardi. Don't forget how well the Seats work as a team. He's got one in front and three behind, and they're not going to shuffle their way by him.
He's a big boy. He can cope with all of that. And what he needs to do is very, very quickly get past Gabriele Tarquini. Otherwise, the three behind are going to be chewing away at his back bumper.
Here we go, restarting.
Go. Let's go.
Lap 3 completed of now 12 laps. It should be the race distance. Gabriele Tarquini leads. Here comes Alex Zanardi looking for a move immediately down the inside. Ivan Muller third, Ricard Rydell fourth, Thiago Montero fifth. Next BMW, Sergio Hernandez in sixth. Tarquini gets the door closed, and Ivan is coming with a head of steam behind Alex Zanardi. He is on his own for BMW. It's him or no one, because there are 4 of the 5 turbo diesel Seats all around him. He really is right in the middle of the hornet's nest, isn't he?
Sort of Billy no mates, really. And this is a good move, Alex, if you can pull this one off. Yes.
Okay, so race 1 winner Alex Zanardi from last year leads. Roberto Ravaglia breathes a momentary sigh of relief.
And Ivan Muller gets through as well.
Yes, Tarquini was offline, picked up a little bit of dirt. Muller, always the hunter killer, straight by. Teammate, rival, enemy, doesn't make any difference. Ivan is up into second. Gabriele defending
Gabriele trying to come back past him again.
Yeah, because he's got Rydell and Montero right behind, and there is Jörg Muller trying to go by Felix Portero. Portero will let him go, despite the fact that Tom Coronel's Seat is in front. Stefano Daste's yellow and white BMW is the top independent. Daste is 7th. Coronel is 8th. That's at the moment pole for race 2 for Tim Tom Coronel. Where have we seen that before? And if it rained, my goodness, for race 2, we'd be back to the same place as we were in Japan.
Zanardi has just pulled out a 5-car lead there just now.
Fastest man on the track at the moment, though, is Sergio Hernandez, his teammate. So the 2 Royal Motorsport BMW Italia Spain cars are going well. And in front of Hernandez, lots of tyre smoke from one of the Seats through the corner there. So somebody might have had a little rub. Might have been Ivan, Ricard, not sure who.
I think these guys now will look at the train. It's a fantastic sight to see these 4 cars nose to tail. You think they're connected by bits of string, but what you call it, Zanardi has now got this 4-5 car buffer. He needs to just, and he's very capable of doing it, head down, concentrate, and this race is his to lose. He's got it.
No better track for him to be at, to be in front than this track. This is absolutely his chance of the season. Of course, he won his first ever race at Oschersleben. We've still got to go back there this year, but this was his real highlight of his World Touring Car career so far. And look at the Seats.
Ricard Rydell sort of trying to buff off Montero. Montero's looking quite strong this weekend.
Yes, he is, and Ricard might get the phone call soon, but of course they've got to keep Sergio Hernandez back. They want those points. Behind Hernandez, white BMW is Stefano Daste in 7th, then Jörg Muller in 8th, ahead of Tom Coronel, who's 2nd independent in his Seat Holland car.
And Jörg Muller's just set fastest lap of the race so far, so that car's clearly on the up.
Ricard attacks Gabriele, looking back there from Ivan Muller at Tarquini's car, and there's Montero.
Touch.
Montero going inside Ricard. Ricard had a lunge, lost ground. Thiago tried to get by. Now 4 BMWs or 3 BMWs behind him, and in fact 5 BMWs in the next 6 cars. But John, when you're trying to follow 4 cars like the Seats are there, it's like trying to pass a queue of caravans on a road. They're all just one solid lap. Jörg Muller gets to the front of the queue.
And when they're all underneath the back wings of each other, you really can't see too much, so you've just got to be...
Daste shuffled off wide. Coronel leads the independence class. Daste on the grass, gets back on in front of Coronel. How did that work? Well, that was Tom going through, and Tim picks up a place as well.
But Jörg Muller is on a flyer. He's set fastest lap there, nearly a second a lap faster than everyone else. Trouble is now, he's got to get himself past Daste and then right in among the pack.
Daste's gone, he's off already. He was eased off in the battle with Coronel. So Jörg now has 4 Seats between him and 2nd place. And with the disappointment for Farfus, incidentally, Farfus' team manager has been summoned to the race control. So Charlie Lamb, it won't actually be him, it'll be his brother Dieter who goes up to talk to race control. And that obviously is for triggering that first corner shunt, because there's no question Augusto, despite being the pole man, did kick it all off. And that's a very bizarre concept. The pole man starts the first corner shunt. Almost never happens.
Well, actually, what they wanted there was they also wanted Jordi Genet's team manager, so they maybe...
Oh, you're right, car 4, yes. Oh, well, huge jump start, I'm thinking, for Jordi.
Because he's obviously gone from sort of 12th, 13th on the grid right up, and that was a jump start, I would think, but we'll wait and see.
Well, he'd made up about 3 rows of the grid before he got to the start line.
Zanardi's just done fastest lap of the race now, so he's got his head down, clear track. He's not even looking in the mirrors. These yellow cars behind are beating 11 daylights out of each other, and they've got to just be careful.
Independence category, there is Coronel in the middle, sandwiched by the 2 BMWs, and it's Portero with the Spanish colours and Postiglione with the Italian colours in the 2 Pro Team BMWs. They are first and third. Tom Coronel still second in the Indies. Tim is fourth in the Indies behind the identical car. Fifth is Engsler, sixth is Daste, recovering from his off. So Montero and Muller, 5th and 6th, are the quickest men on the circuit at the moment. Here comes Jürgen Muller down the inside of Thiago Montero. He's been pushing the Portuguese along, and he moves in front. So that is him up to 5th position. So now they've broken the dam. And John, this is the only way, picking them off one by one. You can't get them all in one queue.
He won't get them all in a one, but he's clearly got a car that's capable. He's setting really good sector times, fastest sector times so far. He's got a one by one, just pluck them off and just move up. He's got his real angry head on right now. Best BMW, but he's not going to get near Zanardi. Zanardi's gone, he's in another race.
And this is like Alex Zanardi coming back up through the field in race 2 last year, cutting his way through the traffic just so quickly. Jürg clearly has got more speed through the corners, and here the corners are long enough and wide enough actually to be able to pass Genet in the pit lane.
Yeah, it looked like he might be in for a stop-go penalty, who knows?
Well, it hasn't been notified, so maybe something else.
So they phoned him and said, listen, you've been a bad boy, you better get in here.
It's his second pit stop, so he's already a lap behind, so he may have had to pick up a tyre after the start.
See, from Muller's point of view, Jürg Muller's point of view now, who are on board with him, you've got to get past immediately. You can't sit behind these blokes.
That is Rydell, right up behind Ivan, and Tarquini's gone by. Now, we didn't spot that. Tarquini went by Ivan somewhere, so Muller still struggling. Here comes the other Muller, Jürg Muller. No relation, of course.
See how the Seat just pulls a couple of car lengths out there, and that mid-range torque just out of the corner.
Well, there is Montero, and around the outside, Hernandez went around the outside of Muller and Montero, so Muller lost ground, drifting out wide there at the end of the final corner.
It's up the hill towards that final series of S's there that Jürg Muller lost out. Now what he's going to do is concentrate on these corners all the way down to the base of the valley and try and get
down the inside. Here comes Montero again, trying to attack Hernandez to move back up the order. Zanardi leads, Tarquini second, Ivan Muller third at the line, but now down to 6th position. So Ivan Muller really struggling. He's at the back of the queue, and there he moves out of the line again. And look, the BMW is just hoarding all over the back of these Seats. Montero under pressure from Hernandez. Felix Portero, the top independent, with the fastest race lap and in front of the world champion. So Ivan Muller being shuffled back out of the points in a moment. This is Ivan running wide. John, he's really struggling. He's struggled all weekend.
Yeah, I think the trouble is that car doesn't have any front end grip at all for some obscure reason, but he's just going backwards.
Well, Jürg Muller on board behind Thiago Montero, rather. Still, there's Jaime Puig, and he is worrying about his world champion. Don't forget, although Farfus probably will not score, if Ivan doesn't, he still only has a 3-point lead at the end of this race weekend. And at the moment, Ivan's car is not a point-scoring car. Look, the independence there to Tom Coronel is hassling to get by him now to get into the points.
And Gabriele Tarquini in second place is going to pick up a handful of points here. He's probably the danger man as far as Ivan Muller's concerned right now. But for instance, I don't know what happened to Jürg Muller then. He had the pace. All of a sudden he's just gone backwards. He's let Montero back past him again. He needs to get his act together and get on with it.
Again, he's running quick up the hill. It was onto the straight. He drifted right out wide, tail got out sideways, and that robs him of speed. And so the other two behind just went straight by. Looking back at Tom Coronel, this is from Ivan Muller. And Coronel trying to get into the points again. Don't forget that really pays dividends in the Independence Trophy as well, because you multiply any full championship points you score by 3 and add them to the Independence points you score. Rob Huff's car back in the pit lane finally. Zanardi, Tarquini, Rydell, Hernandez, the top BMW, or the second BMW in fourth, then Montero. And all that tyre smoke is pouring off Ivan Muller's front tyres. That's who was smoking even as early as lap 1 or 2. As he turns into the first corner, John, it wreaths of smoke coming off the tyre.
He did say that he couldn't get heat into the front tyres. They've obviously put a little bit too much toe on the car, or a little bit too much camber. the car just doesn't seem to have the front end turning that the others have got for some reason, which is unlike a van.
Inside him goes Jörg Müller, so inside Thiago Montero goes Jörg Müller. Yes, well used bit of inside linery, and Montero trying to come back downhill. Everything's quick.
Plenty of blocking there.
Yeah, and here comes Portero. Again, Montero really locking up there. That's a difficult downhill, slightly off camber braking area. Front wheel drive tyres don't like that much, do they?
No, not really. It's I'm just amazed that Jörg Müller's on the pace, then he's off the pace. What's happening? Why is he not sort of getting right back on the back bumper of the car in front?
Well, he did immediately bridge the gap once he got past the first set, leapt right up to the next group. But you're right, the last couple of laps he has just not been able to quite hold that front running pace.
He seems to get to a point, you know, he's fast and then he seems to lose his head somewhere in there, but he's just set a very fast sector time in the first sector. Maybe he's got his clean head back on again.
Look at the independents. Portero for BMW, then Tom and Tim Coronel. Between them, Vito Postiglione for BMW, and Prio's car. Look at that, almost showroom spec.
Looks pristine. They're sending him out to make sure that car's okay, make sure it's good for the next race, but he's going to start way back at the tail of the grid for this one.
Well, 18 cars running at the moment. Marin Kolak's just made a pit stop, and there's Tarquini and Rydell ahead of Hernandez and Müller. So Tarquini, Rydell second and third, Hernandez and Müller fourth and fifth. We might still get a BMW whitewash at the podium, but not the cars we were thinking early.
No, but you see, Van Muller's got to be really careful here he doesn't get bumped, because he's in 8th place as we speak. If he loses another place to, say, Tom Coronel, then he starts further back on the grid. He's going to start 9th on the grid, where if he stays where he is with the reverse grid for the second race, he'll start on pole position. It's really important.
In our commentary box, John, above the pit straight on the far side from the pits, I can smell tyre smoke. Yeah. That's incredible, and that is how bad Ivan's handling problem is. We've got another 3 laps after this. I think it's almost inconceivable that if Tom Coronel doesn't get by him, that Vito Postiglione won't, and he's got Franz Engstler coming up as well. Somebody will get past Ivan for the final point and for the reverse grid pole position.
So we've got Jörg Müller seems to be moving ahead again.
Well, here they are now, the 2 BMWs, Jörg Müller and Hernandez, all over the back of Rydell, and in front of him Tarquini is second. Don't forget, second and third, those 2 Seats, and here comes Jörg, pushing Ricard, Ricard's tyre off the ground there and locked up under braking, just enough to get a little nose alongside, not quite enough, but if he keeps his nose clean here, he's got to attack him up the hill. Ricard drifts off line.
Just push Ricard enough to lose the grip. You get offline, you get on the loose stuff on the marbles, you lose all the momentum. That was a good bit of overtaking without changing paint.
And of course, right behind, Sergio Hernandez also looking to do the same. Then the next BMW, Felix Portero. He's in 7th, trying to get ahead of Thiago Montero. And this is for pole, that little group just there, for pole in race 2. Tim Coronel ahead of Franz Engstler. Jaap van Lagen, 13th position ahead of Tom Boardman. So Van Lagen is actually the 8th factory car on the track. There are so many independents. We talked about this in qualifying, John. It is a factor that there are so many good, quick drivers and good, quick cars in the independents category. Actually, it's by no means certain that factory drivers will even fill the points.
No, it's not. I mean, it's capable of an independent getting right in amongst the factory cars. That's the way this championship seems to work, and you can see that from the positions at the moment.
Yeah.
But we've got Jörg Müller is just about to have a go. If he does the same to Gabriele as he did to Rydell, and Gabriele's a little bit tougher character, however, that was an easy pass.
Well, Gabriele knew the writing was on the wall then. You can see the tyre smoke from his car. If we can smell it up here, he can certainly smell it down there. He knows that if Jörg gets a run, he's going by.
He's got him back again. That's
well, downhill left-hander, he'll have the inside line, but will he be able to stop? No, he doesn't think so either.
Gabriele's maybe figuring out that 3rd place is better than nothing at all here, because he's got his teammate Ricard behind him.
Well, what's he going to be asking his engineer? Where's Ivan? Where's Ivan? How many points has Ivan got? Ivan's got 1, possibly none. 3rd is better than nothing for Gabriele. A lot better than nothing. It puts him right back in touch. 11 behind at the beginning of this race. 6 points here makes half that gap.
But Ricard has got to be very careful now, because he has a BMW of Hernandez right on his boot lid. And it looks like now that the Seats 10 laps into this 12-lap race are struggling a little bit with the front tyres, and they're some cars worse than others. And I'd be surprised if Tom Coronel doesn't manage to gobble up Ivan Muller here.
Tom's real problem, of course, is that he does slightly rely on the Seat factory team selling him the parts to keep his car running, and it has been known several times in the past that he's been asked to move over from a point scoring position to allow the factory cars through. But they really have to let the independents race, because of course those guys are paying their own money to race against BMWs, and Coronel would desperately love to get by Ivan and shake off Vito Postiglione. The danger for Ivan is that if somehow Coronel gets alongside, Postiglione's BMW is getting straight by Ivan Muller as well.
Ivan Muller's lap times, he's 1 second a lap slower than the fastest lap, which is Jörg Muller in third place at the moment, but he's also the slowest of all of the Seats. This guy, there's something wrong this weekend with Ivan's car, the setup. It's not Ivan, in my view. Ivan is very capable of dragging it home with 3 wheels on it, but there's just something not right this weekend, and he is under pressure. And I think you're right. Tom Coronel looks as though he has the pace to pass him, but I'm sure the radio call's been made. Tom, sit still. Fend off the BMW.
Fastest race lap for Andy Prio, 2 minutes 10.6. The previous fastest lap, 2 minutes 12.
Yeah, but they've thrown tyres on the car.
But it means that it will go quickly in race 2. Now, he might not start inside the top 20, but he will have a fire lit under him like we've seldom seen.
He will start inside the top 20 because the Chevrolets haven't come back out yet.
Yep. And
a number of other competitors that got pushed off, Genet and so on and so forth. So I think Prio could probably end up 17th or 18th in this second race. And given us what we said before, BMW like this track, you could probably see Andy get himself up at the top half dozen maybe.
It might just happen. I tell you what, it's certainly worth watching his on board. Tarquini second, Rydell, third and fourth, these two Seats are. Tarquini third, Rydell fourth. Acting as rear gunner there, fanning out to deny Hernandez BMW a chance to get by. And not sure that Sergio has got the touring car experience yet to really mix it with the likes of Tarquini and Rydell, who've got 15 years of this skullduggery under their belts. They know the tricks. They don't have to think about them. It's just instinctive here to be able to defend and hold on to these positions.
Yeah, all that downhill section is where the BMW can score, can take advantage, but then the uphill stretch is where the Seats just pull away and you just can't get near them. And Ricard doing a bit of covering there to make sure that Hernandez doesn't get near him.
Yeah, too wide makes it very hard for Hernandez to find a way. He then has to try and find a way past both of them, or really pluck up the courage to stick his nose in where it's not wanted. Portero behind, I think, is probably less worried about that. He's leading the independence category, but he is really in full giant killing mode this season. Lost a factory drive last year to Hernandez for reasons that obviously BMW are party to and the rest of us aren't. He wasn't best pleased, and now as an independent he has been in the overall points pretty much every time he's been out. He really is electrifying to watch.
We haven't seen the as we watch Andy Prio here sort of pottering around at the back, really setting fastest laps, albeit, but he's on his own. We've not seen Zanardi and Muller for a minute or two, but Muller has taken chunks out of Zanardi's lead. It's now down to half a second with 1 lap to go.
Yes, and
so
I wonder,
Jörg is on a stormer.
I wonder whether Zanardi will end up winning this, or will he be like Tarquini, defending from a quick BMW into the final couple of corners, as Gabrielli did at the end of race 2 last year. Tarquini third onto the final lap ahead of Rydell. Hernandez, top Indy is Portero. Ivan Muller, I'm pretty certain, will hold on to 8th place and start race 2 from pole, but will likely still reverse backwards through the field. That car does not work.
They've obviously, Robert Ravalia has obviously radioed Zanardi and said, get your finger out, Muller's catching you here, get on with it.
Well, they both just set their fastest race lap, each of them on the penultimate lap of the race, but Jörg half a second behind. Bearing in mind what happened to Augusto and Andy, is he really going to have a last lap lunge? Will he take second place? My thinking is yes, he will take the points and sit behind Alex to the line, because let's face it, there will be enough backside kicking going on from Dr. Mario Tyson come Monday morning. I don't think Ivan particularly wants to be sitting outside his study for his turn with the cane.
No, I think that no, you mean Jörg Muller, not Ivan Muller. If Ivan Muller ended up in front of Mario Tyson, that might be a real problem.
Yeah,
no, I know what you mean, but I think that Tyson's going to have a discussion with these blokes, because that was the silliest piece of blocking I think I've ever seen.
So here we go. This is the battle for 9th place, second in the independents. We're looking back from Ivan Muller, Tom Coronel. The real danger for Tom Coronel is he's got Postiglione all over his back bumper. He's trying to hang on to second in the independents category and to try and at least limit the damage that Portero is doing to his 2-point championship lead. But he's got Ivan Muller blocking him in front and he can't get by and he's losing ground. Final corners then for Alex Zanardi.
Jörg Muller, you can see he's settled for second place now. He's just come off it.
He is going to finish in second. Alex Zanardi is going to win again in Brno. That's 3 races and 2 wins here for Alex Zanardi. The crowd rise to their feet. Yes, everybody likes when Alex wins. Jörg Muller in second, third Tarquini, fourth Rydell. Yes, just ahead of Hernandez and Portero rushing to the line. I mean, Vito Postiglione, but it is Coronel that takes